Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If I like it's a moment, I'll make sure it's an explosion. Cause lately I've been seeing stars, trying to kick out on this short course. But it's no holds barred, middle fingers like I'm Stone Cold.
And what is up, ladies and gentlemen? This is WeTooDeep, and that's WAVYD. This is another episode of the Slap and Meat Wrestling Podcast. We got a good episode here for you all. We're going to discuss Mercedes Mone. I talked about her debut a little bit on Friday, but we got WavyD here. We're going to hear some of his opinions on that. As always, the Let's Get Cooking. We got a special little thing here. I want to see, I want WavyD to cook us up something good here. I think I got something as well. And then, of course, as always, the questions that the Discord loves to send in. We'll discuss that, and then we'll end it like we always do with Thirsty Tuesday. But before we get to that, QR code still in the bottom. It's WrestleMania season. Maybe you want yourself a championship belt. This was back when Raw had a champion that mattered. I'm kidding. Speaking of that champion, Seth Rollins got a new shirt. Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins have a shirt together now. Go get your merch. Use that QR code. Link as well in the description, as well as the link to the Discord. If you're not in there and you listen to the show, go ahead and join the Discord. Join the conversation around the episode each week that we have. We have a good time in there. And then, as always, Beyond the Junkyard, the other podcast hosted by Junkyard James and K-Dog Cody on Thursday nights at 9 p.m. They bite in a little bit, though. They took our Q&A session. I got some beef that I'm going to send y'all a cease and desist on that one. But speaking of good time, DJWAVYD just spent spring break in Miami. Tell us a little bit about it.
So, you know what I'm saying? The news is true. Cops were lined up and down the streets on the weekends. I got there on Thursday. I got there by Thursday afternoon. Got to enjoy the whole day Thursday pretty much in Miami. I left Sunday morning, you know what I'm saying? We were out of there by the plane took off at 12 in the afternoon. So, I got a good amount of time out there, you know what I'm saying? I got my tan back, you know what I'm saying? Looking glistening right now. I almost didn't make it back into Connecticut. They tried to overbook my flight, or they oversold the seats or whatever. Right. So then I was almost stuck not having a ride. But luckily, someone either didn't show up, or I think one person bought 2 seats and they gave it to me anyways. So, but not Miami was fun. I was going to a little bit of trouble, you know what I'm saying? But I was, we too deep. I saw him some pictures. He knows what's up.
Yeah,
I was in my bag, like the fries at the bottom.
All right, so let's jump into the wrestling conversation. Before we talk about the Mercedes, let's talk about The Rock real quick. The Final Boss, which, first off, Rock, that's a horrible, horrible nickname. But he seems to have angered some people backstage. At least that's what the report says, that, they're saying it's not fair that Rock gets to have a double standard of being able to cuss on social media and his promos. What do you think about this?
So I mean, I'm gonna start by saying, don't believe the dirt sheets.
Right.
Everybody in the back kind of knows, The Rock's only here for a little bit. He's not gonna be here full time. You know what I'm saying? Take it for now. The Rock, he kind of plays by different rules. Is it fair? No. But also, I think that it kind of proves that today's superstars and wrestlers are, I think, in a way, are better because they're getting over without having to resort to, bathroom humor. And as you guys saw on Monday Night Raw, Cody Rhodes got a little bit, in his bag too. and they gave him a little more freedom on the mic. But
Right.
I would like to see The Rock playing by equal footing. You know what I'm saying?
So I can kind of understand where, if this is true, I like how you said don't trust the dirt sheets. I don't even know where I saw this from. But don't trust the dirt sheets. But let's just say this is true, and someone's a little bit upset because Rock can tell Cody Rhodes to go fuck his story, which I don't even think is all that bad. But
yeah,
The Rock. The Rock's not even a contracted superstar. He is the boss. So yes, to play by a different rule, because he doesn't have to play by your rules. He didn't sign a WWE contract. He signed a TKO board of directors contract where you can do basically whatever the fuck he wants. Like, we got to understand he's the hottest movie star in the world today. They're not going to tell him what he can and can't do. But if you notice, Rock's really good at this. His promos on social media, that's where they get juicy. But he does the same promo on TV. He did the same exact promo Friday night on SmackDown. He just took out the cuss words. Literally the same exact promo. And so, yeah, he's going to play by a different set of rules because of who he is. Is it fair? No, but welcome to life.
Life's not fair.
And so you're going to have to. I read something today as well where they sort of gave Cody a little bit of leeway to sort of say what he wants because, it is against The Rock. Yeah, I don't really think it's that big of a deal. I don't even think it is a big deal. I think, these dirt sheets, it's slow every single day with this news. There's no real news that comes out in wrestling.
Yeah.
So they just got to make shit up to put on their website.
Also, these dirt sheets get on there is just the same way as like the NBA, NFL beat writers, where it's like you're gonna say something, put a name to it.
Right.
I know they want to be off the record or whatnot, but it's like at the end of the day, if you're not gonna put a name to it, like I could be your sources. I could be the sources saying, yeah, some guys in the locker room aren't happy. Says sources being WavyD. What does WavyD know?
Right.
So like, if you're not putting a name to it, or you're not gonna put like a description of who it could be to narrow it down, like I'm just like, what's the point of putting out there anyways? Because at the end of the day, everybody's gonna refute it. So, and you're gonna end up looking like someone who's like a Dave Meltzer who backtracks on like every statement,
right?
And like he like does like triple, quadruple wordplay, so to give himself an out, so that way his news reporting doesn't seem uncredible, which it is half the time. So, all you beat writers, all you dirt sheets, it's like at the end of the day, we know it's a business. Your boss has different rules than you got. Also, when it comes to The Rock's promos, like especially the song that he did, it was scripted. A script of it was given to Fox Network. That way they could bleep out whatever they wanted to or needed to bleep out. So at the end of the day, especially I'm not sure about a lot of his other promos, but as far as his song one, the singing one that he did in Memphis, it was scripted, it was known ahead of time, and then it was handed it. I'm like, everybody gotta stop being some Cody crybabies.
Right.
Some WWE crybabies.
I'm telling you and me are in agreement with this. Kara's in agreement with this. Roman retaining at Mania.
Yes.
And it's going to bring me so much just happiness to see the IWC just cry for like 2 weeks because Cody. Now they're going to cry for a whole year. They're going to cry till Roman loses the belt, but because that's what they do. They just cry.
No, I'm telling you, like the closer we get to Mania, the more and more I feel like my prediction is going to be true. Where we get like the false finish of all false finishes.
Yeah,
Cody holds the belt up to end the night. But next night on Raw, it's revealed Roman's foot was under the rope or something happened, and they're going to strip it away from him.
So I read they're going to try to like book him sort of like Rocky. It is in Philly. I mean, he's probably the closest thing wrestling has seen to a Rocky type character.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, I'm all for it. Can Sylvester Stallone show up and set up a feud between him and The Rock? I'm kidding. Please don't do that. Speaking of fantasy booking, let's jump into Let's Get Cooking. And I made it challenging this week. Create your own gimmick match.
All right,
I'm gonna let you go first to see what you got.
See, you might think it's a challenge, but it's not a challenge for WavyD. You're talking to a man who has been playing WWE video games since SmackDown versus Raw, the original, say 2005. I did skip it. I did skip some of the WWE like 13, 14. I skipped those. But you're talking to a man who's been playing video games forever and has wanted to create his match types for a very long time. Now, I have this concept, okay? Now, I might have brought up on the show one time when I was booking R-Truth, but I thought this match type when I was like a wee lad back in middle school. All right. You mix the Royal Rumble with the Money in the Bank match.
Okay.
So essentially, you have a ladder match. Say it's a 10-person ladder match. You start off with 2 people, and every 5 minutes, next person enters the match to get involved in the ladder match. And then it's the same thing where you got the briefcase at the top, the ladder match. But every 5 minutes, a new person enters the ring until you got all 10 participants, or maybe the 10th person doesn't even get in the match and someone grabs the title or the briefcase before that. So either you could be in the match for a long time, get a lot of wear and tear, but if you're in the match longer, you have more chance of getting the title because you might get the title before the 9th or 10th minute even come out. So it is a Royal Rumble mixed with a Money in the Bank ladder match.
So just a quick question here. So you're saying you can win the match even before all 10 people enter the match?
Yes.
That's crazy.
So so everybody fights for that number 30, that last spot in the Rumble.
Right.
But you might be fresh as daisies, but guess what?
Yeah, but
you might not even get in the match.
See, knowing WWE though, they're gonna put Sami Zayn at number 10, and he's gonna enter the ring, and then they're gonna grab the briefcase, and he's gonna cry about it. Oh, I didn't get a fair shot.
Hey, it could lead to stuff. It could lead to stuff. It's risk versus reward. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have faith in your superstars. But I know it's a hard match to implement in actual TV because, like, if you book a ladder match, or if you book a match, you're expected to see all 10 participants.
Right.
I mean, like, it would never fly in WWE, but I think it would be a great concept for like an indie show.
Right. So my concept is sort of, there's something TNA did, their King of the Mountain match.
Yeah.
That I really, really, really liked. It's one of the only things that TNA sort of originally did that I thought was pretty good at the time, at least. So something like that. But so if I remember correctly, they had like a briefcase type thing as well, like hanging from the.
Oh yeah, the Feast or Fired.
Yeah. So I want to do something like Feast or Fire with like Money in the Bank mixed with like King of the Mountain, where just a whole bunch of like crazy shit happens. It's a gimmick match. Make it a spot fest. That's where the spot fest should happen, is the gimmick matches. Hell in a Cell should be a spot fest. And so just crazy. But have like Money in the Bank type thing where you have like the actual contract up there, but then you have, like 4 different potential winners, and someone grabs one and he gets traded to Raw or whatever. And so you grab a briefcase, but you can't show it until like after the match is over. So let's say Dominic Mysterio wins one, and he's excited he won the briefcase, and then he opens it up like the next night and he gets demoted to NXT or something like that. And so I think that'll be something cool. Something that I'm just a little bit tired of the bland gimmicks WWE has done. Every year. I think we need to shake it up a little bit.
Imagine a ladder match inside of a Hell in a Cell, or a ladder match inside of a steel cage.
Yeah, I can see it. Just don't put Darby Allin in; he'll fucking kill himself.
Or an Iron Man tables match.
Can we do the Darby Allin Classic match where the winner is the first one to go through a pane of glass?
Hey, at that point, we were talking CZW at that
point. So let's break on into Mercedes Moné.
Yep.
She debuts on last Wednesday. So this really came about after I heard Cornette talk about it. If you haven't heard Cornette give his 30-minute segment on this, hilarious. This dude's hilarious. I love Jim Cornette. I love him. But they were going over the segments, like each quarter or each 15-minute segment, and talking about the ratings. So Mercedes comes out, and they always have the Big Bang Theory sort of pushover, or she debuts, million people are watching, but are all million people really there to watch AEW? And so the next, she does her thing. We were just talking before we went live. I don't know about you. The music, okay. I think the music it's gonna grow on me. But that promo, you don't like the music?
No.
Okay.
It forced the chant because it had the chant in the song.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Everyone's sitting here like, I think it was James on his podcast, like, oh, for the first, like, no one ever practiced the chant in the whole state. Yeah, the whole stadium was saying it because the fucking chant was in the song.
Bro, the letters were popping up, and the voice came in, CEO.
Right. So I think
go ahead.
I think I said something about it on Friday, where like there's certain songs like Seth Rollins where the chant is in the song. They build it for it to be sung. So like that's exactly what they did there. It's marketing genius, but like let's not praise like Mercedes Mone for starting some chant that didn't happen when you literally created the song. And then it's like Daniel Bryan's old music from WWE over top fucking hip hop beat or whatever. It's going to take some time for me to like this. I don't know if it's going to happen. But then she started talking, and it got worse. I'm sorry. I've never been a fan of her promo skills. What's your thoughts on this promo?
All right. So before I get to the promo, the music, yes, it was terrible. All right, the music was terrible. It's kind of like her. It's her boss gimmick, but elevated because I don't know if you watched her. She was on the local news, the local Boston news channel.
Yeah,
and she did some stuff with Tony, and then some stuff with the host of the show. I forgot her name. I think it started with a K. Forgot her name. But she was talking about how her character is now like an evolution from being the boss to being the CEO and some other type of stuff. And I was like, okay, cool. Yeah. I get it. Cool. I like the evolution, but the music was trash. Like garbage by Basura. I don't know how many I can say it. CEO. Like I know the IWC are some slow people, but even they can catch on to the chant.
Right.
As far as her promo, like you, I was never a huge fan of, especially her face promos. Like when she was a face, I personally like Mercedes when she's a heel.
Right. I think that's the only way she works.
Yeah, I think her promos are a lot better when she's a heel. I was never a fan of her like face persona of a good guy persona because she's not the best actor. So when she acts like she likes people. Of course she can be very gracious to the fans. I'm sure she loves the fans.
Right.
But when she's like trying to be like the face of the company, and it's just like it just comes out really like forced and like unauthentic. So she's a superb heel. I like her as a heel. So I'm looking for her to turn on Will Nightingale. That's down the line. We'll get to that later. I'm looking for her to turn and become a heel. But I don't know. I feel like her debut was a little underwhelming. Just especially because like it wasn't a surprise. We all knew she was going to be there. Right. So I mean, I don't know. It depends how you look. How you like your booking. Do you like a surprise? Do you like knowing they're going to be there? It's up to you.
Right. So while you were talking, you mentioned about how her gimmick was essentially just the boss, but elevated. This thought came to my mind. And this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about no one's willing to tell I said this Friday, no one's really willing to tell the truth about the situation. So Mr. Junkyard James, you've been bitching about how WWE copies Cody Rhodes' gimmick. And then literally like a week after, they're just going to put the same fucking gimmick on. What's Edge's gimmick? It's the rated R superstar. They ain't did shit other than what WWE already built. That's how the business works, my dude. So, yeah, but no one's gonna mention that. It's the greatest thing of all time now because she's the CEO. She's not the boss. Like she'd be the boss if it wasn't copyrighted.
Yeah.
So, Yeah, I don't know. I just, even when she's like a heel, I think a lot of it has to do with just her voice just annoys the shit out of me sometimes. And
Yeah.
and the biggest thing for me is the fuck is going on with her hair. That just throws me the fuck off.
Like if
Like,
you watched her on the news, I know that we like when the wrestlers are in character and their persona, especially
right,
on like news channels.
right,
But she looked a little bit like a clown. I told you because
right.
it was more so the glasses
Yeah,
that really were terrible. But
yeah. I don't know the presentation. So I titled this episode, you got a Mercedes, but you paid. We're going to talk about the payment here in a minute. You paid for a Ferrari. Let's talk about that. The rumored amount of money. Now, none of this has been confirmed. It's hard to confirm. Like I said this when I was talking, I think at the end of last year about free agency and how crazy it's going to be this year. It's not like I can go to a website and figure out what someone's getting paid in WWE. Those things aren't announced. It's not like I could go to Over the Cap and find out how much, name any NFL player how much they're getting paid. That's public information. A lot of times in wrestling, that's not a public thing that's announced. But the rumor is 6 to $10 million per year for Mercedes Mone. So you're paying high level money.
yeah,
Like when I say high level, I mean more than Roman Reigns money. Like Roman Reigns is rumored around 5 million. So you're paying more for Mercedes Mone. Like you're talking John Cena money at this point.
yeah.
And if it's 10 million, you're talking Brock Lesnar money. So, I mean, Mercedes aren't bad cars, but when I'm paying for a Ferrari, I want the Ferrari. And I feel like we just didn't get the oomph. And everyone's like, oh, look at the numbers. She brought in $1 million. Okay. But the next segment after you dropped the 800,000 and then Riho got on the screen and you dropped to 700,000. Okada got on the screen. He had the lowest rated segment. You got a problem. You're paying Okada $4 million a year and he can't draw shit.
See, I'm just like, it's the same people who, when the numbers are bad, they say the numbers don't matter. Like, that's how we watch TV. But then when they have decent numbers, it's like, but look at the numbers, though. We were on TV. They were watching. It's like, they try to take the good without taking the bad.
Right.
And, I don't know. I'll get into Rio later. I'll get into her later. But
do you think Mercedes Mone is worth $6 to $10 million per year?
See, no. I don't think so, just because I don't think any AEW superstar is currently worth $6 million, because, like, I'm not sure how profitable they are, because I haven't seen their numbers, but I can only imagine when you're barely selling tickets to your live events. Your T-shirts are really expensive, and I'm assuming they'll have the best deal on their T-shirts as far as merchandising. WWE has their own shop, and gets a really really big cut of the profit. Whereas, if I'm not wrong, most of the AEW superstars, theirs are through Pro Wrestling Tees or whatever.
Right. So the AEW shop is through Pro Wrestling Tees, and I think AEW gets I don't know the numbers, but they get a certain percentage, but then the individual wrestler gets a certain percentage, and then of course Pro Wrestling Tees is going to get a percentage.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, AEW is making what? Again, I don't know the numbers, but I can't imagine it's a lot from the T-shirts.
So if you look at it, I'm thinking WWE, they have their own thing, their own empire, their own thing.
Right.
So you're thinking they get at least 50%, at least, if not way more.
Oh, if not more, because they just sort of they saved a lot of money when they signed the deal with Fanatics, because now they don't need a warehouse. They use Fanatics warehouse. So
I'm like, where's your money coming in to where you can afford these contracts long term?
Right. So I've always been of the persuasion that worth is determined by what someone is willing to pay. With that being said, she's not worth $6 million. She's just not. Where was she when she left WWE? She was mid card. Where was she when she signed with AEW? She's still mid. They put her in the mid card. She's fighting Willow Nightingale. Like, day one, you're mid card. She should be fighting Toni Storm right now. But just like everything else AEW does, they debut it, they stick it in the mid card, and you don't really hear from it ever again. So, I mean, yeah, cool. You did good in Boston. How's that going to sell in middle of nowhere, bumfuck Egypt, Texas, when people don't care?
Yeah.
Like, so you sold out Boston, you sold out the hometown. You'll probably sell out places like Chicago and LA because, you know, she's known there. But at the end of the day, like, and she should be champion. She should be in the world title picture for that amount of money. She should be world champion.
Yeah.
So now there's rumors that she's she signed with AEW for the idea that she could do a bunch of outside of wrestling things like The Rock does, where she could do like the movies and the TV shows. And I don't know, if I'm Tony Khan, I'm paying you that amount of money. You ain't doing anything but AEW.
That's what I'm saying. And also, like, if you want to do TV and movies, WWE, I don't know. I feel like they have more connections to TV and movies.
Right. I mean, their CEO literally was one of the highest paid talent scouts in Hollywood. Like, he has contacts.
I mean,
Nick,
she was
the other
in
con,
Star Wars because of WWE. She was in Star Wars.
So my other thing is like Tony Khan. She's already said in an interview she's going back to WWE. At what point does Tony Khan start to feel like he's being used? Like, that's exactly what it is. Everyone comes to him for the bag, and then they go back to WWE. Like, Matt Hardy was just at Raw last night.
Yeah, I saw that.
So, I mean, we're probably going to get the Hardy Boys back here as soon as the contract's over. Like, at what point does Tony Khan start to... I agree. At what point does Tony Khan just start to think about life? And he sobers up a little bit from the cocaine he does and says, I'm being used. And then he fucking takes control of his company. I don't think that'll ever happen. But we got some questions here. We'll jump right into these questions from the Discord. While I'm pulling that up, did you watch any of Dynamite Wednesday? Any more other than Mercedes?
I only watched the Mercedes segments.
Right.
Because I watched the Rio and Nightingale match.
Right.
So like, okay. So when I watched the match, right, is Willow Nightingale, is she a good worker? Yeah, I think she's a good talent. I like Willow Nightingale. She's one of
Willow's not bad. Willow's not bad. She's not the one that I complained about in that match.
She's definitely one of the few bright spots in my eyes of AEW. I think Willow Nightingale is a really good talent. I like to see her at WWE. She's a good talent.
Right.
Now the part about it that, like, if you listen to Jim Cornette or if you watch the match, you know, it's the reason it comes into the, we all know wrestling is a scripted, like, entertainment source. Okay, we all know this,
right?
But like, you need to make it look believable. All right, like, you got Rio who's like 90 pounds soaking wet,
right?
I don't and you're making me believe that she's like hitting like German suplexes on Willow Nightingale, where like Willow's like lifting herself up,
right,
and throwing herself.
So that's my point. If it didn't look like, if you're gonna do a move, you got to be able to sell it. And Rio, like, you're making me believe that you could pick up this 140-pound woman,
if not more.
And like, but even let's just say you could do it. Find a way to make it at least on the camera angle where we can't see that Willow's doing all the work. Like, and then I'm gonna bring up the same point Jim Cornette brought up. At what point did we just get rid of Riho? Like,
yeah, what do we move on and push other talent?
Like what is it that Riho has on Kenny Omega or Tony Khan that makes them continue to put her on TV? Like, it makes it look like it's worse than mud show wrestling at that point. So
I don't know. Like, am I gonna sit here and tell you that I've watched a dozen dozens of Rio matches? No, I've seen her a handful of times.
Bro, I've been a Riho hater since the day she became world champion of that fucking women's division.
like if she was wrestling smaller talent like a Julia Hart, where her suplexes might look more believable, but
Even
like
still, Julia Hart makes her look like a child.
listen, like you're making like it's the equivalent of Rey Mysterio giving German suplexes to Batista
Right.
or Mark Henry. Like, come on now, like what are we doing now?
Well,
It's just not
well,
looking that
at least
believable.
with the Mark Henry one makes sense, but like at least Rey Mysterio had muscle mass to him. Like Rio
He does
literally,
now. Back in the day, Ray was a skinny dude back in the day.
right? I mean, Rio literally is 90 pounds wet. Like, there's no way she weighs more than that. She looks like a 9-year-old girl. So we got these questions pulled up. Speaking of the women's division, do you think WWE, this comes from B Master, do you think WWE will ever see a female world champion? I'm assuming he's talking about, in the way of
Like WWE title.
yeah, so sort of similar to what TNA did with Tessa, where Tessa Blanchard became world champion. I'll let you go first on this one.
So let's see. Me personally, I don't see it right now. I think you definitely have to, if you're gonna do it, book it really smart.
Right.
Because you can't have so you can't have someone like even like Becky Lynch. She's not beating Roman Reigns. Okay, like she's not pinning Roman Reigns. She's not pinning Roman Reigns. So if we're gonna go down this rabbit hole and down this pathway, we need to make it very believable. We need we need to book it in a good way. Mm-hmm. So like if you want to go down the line of something like say Roman Reigns loses the title to Cody, and then Cody gets beat up, and then somehow you got the title on like I don't know, an R-Truth, or like you got the title on a Chad Gable or something like that, or you got the title on a Sami Zayn or something. And then Sami Zayn gets beat up and he's down and out, and then like say Rhea takes Damien's briefcase or whatever, and they're like, let's make history or something. And like Rhea like pins a Sami Zayn who just got demolished for 15 minutes by the Bloodline. Like if we're gonna book this, and like we gotta book it in a realistic way. Like
right.
If you're gonna tell me that both superstars are fresh in the ring, and you're giving me Cody Rhodes versus Becky Lynch, and both superstars 100% in a match, at that point.
So yeah, so I don't think they'll do it for. But if they did, I'll go back to that point in a minute. If they did, there's only one woman on the roster right now, on the active roster, who could do it, and it's Rhea Ripley. She's the only one that makes sense for them to even consider doing it. I would say Raquel, but I don't think she's going to wrestle again, unfortunately. But Rhea Ripley is the only one, and it can't be Roman Reigns. I could see her, Seth Rollins, maybe her beating him. But even like you mentioned, like Damian Priest, what if he cashes in and wins the championship? She's similar size to Damian. They are similar. I mean, she's shorter. He's like 6'5", she's like 5'9". But I honestly think Rhea Ripley could take Damian Priest. But it would have to be where the Judgment Day turns on Priest and beat him down. Like she's not. He'll beat her ass in real life. And so that's the reason to me that I don't think WWE will ever do it. Who are they marketing their product to? They're not marketing it to 35-year-old men who understand the difference between right and wrong, and not to beat women, and that it's fake and scripted. They're marketing to children. And so the message you send, and this is why I was sort of against TNA doing it, is the message you're sending is it's okay to beat women. That I know that's not the intended message, but the perception is a man is punching a woman, fake or not. And so I think when you're marketing that to children, that's just not the message I think WWE wants to present.
Yeah. And also like the match you're talking about, it's gonna be more than a Rhea versus Tozawa type of situation. Right. Like if we're fighting over a world title, it's not gonna be like a comedy match that lasts 5 minutes.
Right. You're talking about 30-minute slobber knocker where and the response from the IWC will be, well, they train with men. Okay, but that's not being present it to a live audience that has children in it, that's behind the scenes. Sure, I'm fine with men wrestling women. I'm not saying it shouldn't happen. I just don't think WWE would present it to a live audience when they're so.
And like, it's one thing when you're doing like tumbling drills in the ring, and you guys are like running the ropes and doing some headlocks and like maybe like a head scissors, like just practicing your moves. To like say if like Kurt Angle, like prime Kurt Angle, got Rhea in an ankle lock in the middle of the ring, and this man is roiding out saying like tap out, bitch.
Like Perk Angle, like Perk Angle,
like Perk Angle screaming, have this woman in an ankle lock in the middle of the ring. Like,
right.
What we talking right now, like just the visual is different, and like when they're going through their drills and training, they're not like chopping and super kicking and punching.
Right,
like,
they're not.
They're running the ropes.
And I don't know how many. I mean, I'm not. I can't assume the IWC has ever actually played a single sport in their life, but you get in like that zone when you're performing, and you just kind of just don't think about anything. And so who knows, Damien, even if it was say Damien versus Rhea, and Damien's in the middle of just doing what he's doing, and he drops Rhea, and in a way where if he would have dropped Finn Balor, maybe Finn Balor could sustain a little bit more, damage, but Rhea Ripley may not, just because the completely different design of the human body between male and female. So, I mean, am I against it? No. Do I think WWE would do it? No. I don't think it's a thing.
It's definitely very circumstantial on like who has the title, what the situation is, how the match is booked. It's a lot of ifs, whens, and wheres, and hows and whys, and because it's
the next question. I'm gonna add in one that I meant to add on your script for you to know, but your girl Asuka may be hurt. She got hurt on Friday potentially, but I think there's more to it. I think this is storyline.
Okay.
The Bayley's whole little promo she did on Friday, or so at some point, was basically, I'm going to tear down all of Damage Control until I get to EO. And so part of me feels like this is just storyline injury of her destroying all of Damage Control.
Okay.
Are you on that same line? I mean, if it comes out that Asuka's really hurt, first off, your girl hurt. It's time to find another one.
so I can't say much because it kind of be like insider trading at this point. You know what I'm saying? I got too much inside scoop of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? With my wifey and whatnot. So what I'm saying, all I can tell you is that nobody's ready for Asuka, and that saying she wanted me to tell you guys that keep watching the product. Say you're gonna be entertained.
Yeah.
And that maybe it's real, maybe it's not. She said you gotta watch and stay tuned to find out.
All right. So that's how that's how she's gonna keep us tuned into that SmackDown show that really is only watchable because The Rock and Roman Reigns are on it. Tell you what, your Red Brand did some really good shit yesterday.
Yeah, that was a great show. That was a 9 out of 10 show right there.
I missed like half the damn show. It didn't record, so I missed the Creed's DIY match. I gotta go back and find that.
Yo, banger. The ending sequence.
Yeah,
banger.
All right, I gotta go back and watch that. Our next question comes from Junkyard James himself. Has AEW outgrown Chris Jericho? Meaning, have they gotten to a place where he isn't needed for his name recognition any longer? Your thoughts?
Yeah, I'll give him a yeah. I do think that at some point, I think Chris holds the product back a little bit. When I say product, I mean the talent. Because you can only book Chris Jericho in so much stuff,
right?
And and you can only put him over so much talent until it's the point where he's like a John Cena or a Hulk Hogan or whatever, where he's like holding talent back or holding talent down. And you can only put him in a faction with so many people to try to spotlight them to the point where it's like
how long has he been trying to get Sammy Guevara over? Like 5 years? Like
that might be a Sammy Guevara problem, but
you're not lying. So the answer is yes. And at this point, Chris Jericho's just ruining his legacy. I really just believe that there was a way, like when Chris Jericho left WWE fans, they were kind of upset, but like they still remembered him for all the good memories, right? Like I remember as a kid, anytime the arena went dark and that timer started and Break the Walls Down started playing, like you just got hype. And I'm not even gonna lie, if let's just say WWE somehow secured Chris Jericho for WrestleMania, it's not gonna happen. But let's just say we did, and that music started playing at WrestleMania, I would hype the fuck out. Now get rid of them after the night because we don't need them, but like that music would just get me hyped. But yeah, at this point, his matches, he's old as shit. He's old as shit, and he can't wrestle the same way he could 20, 30 years ago. Yeah, and so the matches are kind of laughable. They're putting him in these spot matches, these matches where he's like he's supposed to try to be athletic, but he's like 60 years or 50 years old, and he just can't do it. And they're making him go above what he can do rather than Chris Jericho is a great talent to put on your mid card to put someone over. If you're not having them do all the spot fest the 20 and 30-year-olders are doing.
Yeah. So Chris is definitely that guy that needs like a story driven rivalry.
Right.
He's not, he's not gonna give you the 5-star like flip fest matches anymore. Like he needs to be in story driven, character driven, like
right. Programs. And now they're putting him against all these people from CMLL that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
So like it's not adding to the business, and so to me, if you're not benefiting it, you're just ultimately holding it back. So yeah, he should just retire, in my opinion. I don't think a run with WWE is necessary. Nor do I think will it happen. I think the only way that would have happened is if Vince McMahon stayed in control. I don't think Triple H brings him back.
I think Chris would benefit just from like one more.
I think he may get like I think he might get that Hall of Fame run, but that's about it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think he'll benefit from, coming in and getting the Hall of Fame nod, and then like kind of getting like one more send off match at like Mania or something.
Right, it's something against like Kevin Owens or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Oh yeah, because they could definitely like that. That was a great story between the two of them.
Speaking of Hall of Fame, B-Master is back up on the plate. He has who's one person who is not in the Hall of Fame that you would like to see in the Hall of Fame. This one was easy for me. I'll let you go first, though.
A lot of the wrestlers is just with due time. You can only put so many wrestlers in,
right?
And like I feel like we grew up in an era where so many deserving wrestlers should be getting in, and now it's just a waiting game.
Right.
Somebody who should already be in, who kind of played the waiting game, who's not quite in yet. If we're not talking politics or anything, I can't think of it off the top of my head right now. I'm thinking people like Batista, but he's waiting for the right time to go in, or he was supposed to go in during the pandemic or whatever, but he's waiting for fans and for the right city.
Well, and then I think he was supposed to go in LA. But then he took a booking for a movie or something and had to film, so he couldn't be there. So
the Hardys aren't in yet, right? I think the Hardys deserve to be in there.
Oh, of course.
Edge and Christian are already there. Dudley's are already there. Oh, wait, Edge and Christian are in together, right? Are they in together? I know Edge is in.
I think Edge is in. I don't know. For part of me believes they are in together, but I don't know for certain.
Yeah, so I think the Dudleys are already in. I think you got to put those 3 tag teams in just for what they did for WWE tag team wrestling. So whoever's not in yet, put them in. I think Batista needs to be in there. The Brothers of Destruction you could put in as a tag team. So I know they didn't do the most work together, but like when they were together, like we know them as Brothers of Destruction. Like we know their story.
Is Kane even in as a single wrestler? I don't think Kane's in yet, is he?
No, he recently retired like just before the pandemic too.
Yeah,
so he probably just hasn't had a chance to get in yet. Like I'm not, I know WWE doesn't necessarily have like a rule like the NBA does, where like you gotta be retired for 5 years.
But I think like Kane is one of those, like, we know he's going to be in, but there's so many other people before him.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw, but WWE, I guess Vince had like a quota / tradition that Triple H is carrying over, where they're trying to have at least
you have to have like one
woman and one African American person.
Yeah, which is, hey, it's at least one good thing. It's at least the one good thing Vince McMahon did.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm all, quotas are cool and all, but like as long as they're deserving, I'm not trying to see them thrown in just because they're black or just because they're a woman. Like, as long as you're deserving as well, I'm down for whatever.
Right. Let's see. The first name that came to mind, it's going to be a little it's Chris Benoit. Come on. Like, I get it. Okay. We're not going to put him in, but I mean, Hulk Hogan's fucking in the Hall of Fame, like, in his personal shit. I mean, I get it. I'm not going to sit here and justify double murder, homicide, suicide. I'm not going to sit here and justify it. But can we separate the character from the person for a minute? The character Chris Benoit, one of the greatest to ever do it. So it's not going to happen because WWE would get so much fucking shit for it. The IWC would go off if Chris Benoit fucking got in. Part of me wants him to go in this year just because he won Royal Rumble in Philly. But it's not going to happen. I don't know if you saw the rumor. The rumor of the last person of the class is The Rock's grandmother.
Oh, okay.
Because she sort of, raised the bloodline, quote unquote, and it's sort of to add to the story as well as, recognize the family. So
no, I mean, I'm not against it. I mean, I assume she did a lot, a lot of stuff behind the scenes. Some other names I'll throw out there: Victoria. I think Victoria deserves to get in. I think a big knock against Victoria is she had a very long TNA run. So like she had a lot of work.
She was Tara in TNA, right? She was Tara in TNA. Yeah. So another one of those is like she didn't do much in WWE, but like I still think WWE should put Gail Kim in for what she did with the business, like
for women's wrestling,
right. Mickie James is going to be in eventually.
Got in early. I forgot that she got inducted all the way back in 2013.
Yeah,
she was like almost right after she left.
Right, but now like we're at a point where like stars from the 2010s are retiring and they're going to go in. I mean, whenever Randy Orton decides to hang it up, he's going in. Triple H is already in, I think, but Shelton, whenever all this shit passes by, we know Vince McMahon's going in. But that's down the line. Shelton Benjamin, there's so many people. So, I mean, almost a large amount of people. It's even hard to name them all. Regal's in already, right?
That's a good question.
That's a good question. I don't know. If not, Regal's going in. I'd be fucking great if they could have Eugene fucking induct them in, but that's not gonna happen. But let's move on to Junkyard James's other question. We'll do Kara here in a minute. James asks, why was Shayna Baszler picked to represent WWE at GCW? I told James I had to call Trips. I didn't get a response back from him. You said you had the scoop though.
Yeah.
So what's going on?
So the owner / booker who's in charge of what is GCW, right? Yeah. He's good friends with Triple H. They're good friends.
Right.
And he asked Triple H, hey, can we get Shayna Baszler for a match against so and so? And Triple H just simply said, yeah, you got it for a match. So that's honestly the scoop.
Right.
Is that Triple H and the booker are good friends who go back a long time.
Right. So, I mean, it's one of those things where Triple H he's working on relationships with these companies. And it's no coincidence that her opponent's Masha Slamovich, which if you don't know who she is, she's always consistently rated in Dave Meltzer's top 10 every single year. She's really good. She just so happens to be with TNA. It's the TNA WWE alliance that's happening. And so, I mean, I'm not going to sit there and watch it. I'm not paying for that shit, but good for her. I mean, it gives Shayna something to do. She's not doing anything on during Mania. So,
Is it during that like Mania weekend where everyone has like their their shows in Florida?
Yeah, I think it's the
or wherever they're
Friday.
gonna be at?
Yeah, I think it's that Friday.
You know, I'm saying that right there just shows you how WWE is a top dog, where everybody's having their try to put a show in the same
Right.
town or area that that where everyone else is going to be.
Right. All right, let's jump over to Kara's question. She said, "How do you feel about WWE sponsorship on the rings and during the matches? Prime, putting the logo in the middle of the ring. Mountain Dew sponsoring the pitch black match. What's your thoughts on it?"
So I would have liked to see maybe a slower introduction to it. I feel like smacking Prime right in the middle of the WrestleMania match was a big leap. I know we did kind of like the barricade, the ring post, and some ads. This is a credit one match of the last match of the night, whatever.
Right.
And so we're getting more and more advertisement. What I'm saying. I'm not against advertisement. I think it's a great thing. It just surprised me that we went from nothing on the ring to smacking a Prime bottle in the middle of WrestleMania.
Right.
I feel like if we started at Backlash and kind of worked our way up, it'll be an easier process to digest.
Right.
But smacking it. I mean, I love Prime. I drink Prime. I'm a Prime guy. I'm trying to sponsor. Say Logan, hit me up.
Logan.
It was just a big step, a big leap.
I think for me, it's not so much that Prime is sponsoring it. It's you just put a fucking big ass bottle in the middle of the road, right? You gotta make it look at least decent. Like it looks a little bit sloppy to me. But I knew this was happening when Endeavor bought it and UFC's getting into UFC's been doing this forever. We're gonna get sponsorship on the. And we can't. AEW fans, y'all have fucking DraftKings on your fucking mat every single week. So you can't complain about it. I've seen so many people complain about it. Is the design ugly? Sure. Could they just put the letters or the word art of Prime on it and not put the giant ass bottle? I think that would have looked better. But WWE's in the business of selling advertising. That's the business model now. And just as the NFL does it, NHL does it, basketball does it. I mean, hockey's now doing it to where they're green screening all the network stuff on the rink. They do it during basketball, during March Madness. They'll green screen the logos on the court. If you watch March Madness starting tomorrow, you're gonna see green screen logos on the court.
Join the bracket, by the way.
Yeah. If you haven't and you got to the end of the night, link in the Discord. It's part of the business. It's gonna happen one way or the other. Could they have done something other than a giant ass red bottle in the middle of the ring? Sure. Yeah. But I want to see where this goes. The ring mat, now that people know that it's available for advertising, are we going to get a Snickers logo, a giant ass Slim Jim in the middle of the ring? Like, what's going to happen with it?
And also, I don't want to change the texture of the mat too much, because sometimes when they put the stickers down, especially in the overseas basketball courts, we got advertisers placed everywhere.
Right.
Sometimes sweat gets on, it can become a little slippery.
Right.
So as long as it's not a safety hazard.
Right. Her next question is, how would the road to WrestleMania be different if The Rock's heel addition to the Bloodline was not going on right now?
Oh, one more time, sorry. My cat was
how would the road to WrestleMania be without The Rock's heel addition to the Bloodline?
Let's see. I'm assuming we're still building towards a Roman Cody kind of situation, but Roman Cody without The Rock. I mean, I don't know. I think The Rock was a good addition. I just don't know what they would have done, especially promo wise, building up to it, because The Rock's promo stuff, it filled the gap that would have otherwise been filled with countless Jimmy and Solo beatdowns on Cody again. I don't know kind of where it would have went to where it didn't feel redundant or repetitive.
Right.
So, Now the tough part is that we have the tag match. I feel like if they booked it more in a way to where The Rock was disliked by both Cody and Roman, it kind of worked that tweener thing, and we weren't sure kind of like whose side he was on. Where The Rock could have been more of like a special guest referee, but then that could have kind of boggled, clouded up the thing too, because like now you got a world title match with a special guest referee at Mania. I don't know. I personally don't know how I would go about booking without The Rock right now.
Right.
Especially if we're still doing Cody and Roman.
Right. It was hard for me to even fathom this build without The Rock. I've probably been one of the only ones consistently who feels like what we got now is what was originally planned, in some way, shape, or form. And so I think the only thing that's different is Drew McIntyre is facing Seth Rollins and not CM Punk. But I still think we get the tag match. I honestly believe this was always the plan. Until someone can prove me wrong. I think that this has been the plan. You needed something to. Again, we're building Cody Rhodes as Rocky, and you need all the odds against him. And so logic tells me he's losing night one, so that you have all the odds against him. And then if he overcomes it, it means more. I don't think he overcomes it. I think he overcomes it at SummerSlam when we get Roman versus Cody 3, because WWE always works in trilogies. And
what if we do get there's some chance that Cody goes over, right?
Right.
Whether it be Rock turning or whatever. Like say if Cody walks out of Mania as the world champion, how do you feel?
I mean, I'm not the happiest person in the world because it doesn't make sense to have him to lose it there. But I mean, it's not going to ruin my life. Here's my thing. As long as it makes storyline sense for Roman to lose it and how he loses it, I'm fine. But I think if Roman loses at Philly, all these people are praising it. We need Cody to finish the story. Cody's a transitional champion. He's not having this thing long term.
Who is it transition to is the question.
Right. Orton? I don't really think. I don't necessarily have an. My only guess would be like someone like Braun Breaker long term. Maybe give Cody like 6 months, 7 months, and then push Braun Breaker.
I'm not gonna lie to you though. Like, I know we just came out. We're on the verge of like a 4 year title reign, but like 6-7 months isn't a transitional champion. Transitional is like maybe they get one pay-per-view defense and then they lose it at the second pay-per-view. Like 6-7 months back in the day was a good title run.
Right. Well, for me, transitional just means he's the champion to get us from the main guy to the next main guy. And the next main guy is Braun Breaker. And so Cody Rhodes is going to get this. He's going to finish the story. My question then is what's next? What's next for Cody? If he wins this title, he finishes the story. What's left for Cody Rhodes to do that makes any sense storyline wise? Because this entire thing has been him chasing the title. And I feel like Cody Rhodes just is better at chasing.
I mean, if Gunther loses the IC title, does Gunther try to take that leap up to the world title picture? And then, at that point, I guess if Cody wins the title, does he just go SmackDown at that point? Because then
that's the biggest story plot line gap that we have in this entire story. Is how do we justify a Raw superstar having the SmackDown champion?
Well, I mean, I guess at that point you just kind of got to do like, the Universal Champion is a SmackDown superstar, and then so Raw just loses out on Cody at that point.
They could have easily done this, that he traded Jey Uso to Raw for himself rather than it being Kevin Owens. But that's been my biggest thing from the beginning. Like, why was Cody Rhodes just not traded to SmackDown?
Well, because you had to keep Cody away from Roman longer.
Well, that's kind of dumb to me. It just, again, it's part of the, hey, Triple H has been cooking, but there's plot holes in the Cody Rhodes story that doesn't make any sense to me. So we'll move forward. B-Master asks, who is someone you really want to see back in WWE that was recently released? I'll go first. So I put Dolph Ziggler in the chat because he's my favorite. He's not coming back. I don't want him to come back, to be honest with you. The first answer that actually came to my head, I have two. One's an announcer from NXT. That's Mackenzie Mitchell. I miss you. Please come back. Kelly Kincaid, I love you. But I need Mackenzie Mitchell back. But my number one answer, and y'all going to laugh at me for this, Top Dollar. I'm bringing Top Dollar back.
No one hotter than Top Dollar.
No one hotter than Top Dollar. And I'm keeping him away from the tag teams. And I'm actually pushing him as a heel gimmick that I know he can do because he does it on the indies. And I'm actually utilizing him and not trying to bury him every time he gets in the ring with Michael Cole calling him Flop Dollar and all of that shit. So yeah, it's Top Dollar.
All right. So I mean, I don't know if we're call it recently released, but I'm cheating a little bit, but I'm bringing back Undisputed Era.
Okay.
I want to see what they can do on the main roster. I feel like we had a lot of ifs, ands, or buts, and I feel like we could put a lot of questions to rest on if Adam Cole really is that guy, or if his group is really that guy, those guys. Because I know they had that long stint in NXT that you weren't a huge fan of because they kind of just dominated for too long, and like they were essentially like the bloodline before the bloodline as far as like holding on the titles.
No. They weren't the bloodline. They wanted to be the bloodline, but they had no story. Like it's the bloodline, but without the cinema.
So I would like to see if they could work on the main roster, especially like in Adam Cole, give him a chance. I want to see him, Kyle O'Reilly, the Bobby Fish, Roderick Strong, the whole gang, see what essentially, the group of the indie job squad, see what they can do on the main roster, see what they can against other factions. Like for a minute we were talking about how Triple H was like kind of building up all these factions left and right, but I want to see them kind of face each other more, and so I'm trying to see. Essentially, I would like to see almost like a small variation of like a Bullet Club, versus like Undisputed Era on WWE television. I'll say whether I don't know if you want to clog up NXT with that, but you can put on SmackDown or Raw, have Undisputed Era versus your WWE Bullet Club type thing where you have like a Finn, AJ, the Good Brothers, just a feud amongst those guys. That could lead to a War Games or something like that, or a Survivor Series.
Yeah. All right, last question here. This is from the Witters. We have to follow tradition here. He asked, which do we prefer, breakfast burrito or breakfast bowl? Now my question is what we putting in this thing?
Like, I mean, the easy answer is a breakfast burrito.
Right. That's gonna be the answer no matter what. But like, how we building this thing? Like, what's we talk about? Like them nasty shits from McDonald's, or like actual breakfast burrito? I forgot the damn restaurant it was, but there's something up there in Connecticut. I think I sent you the TikTok of it.
Yeah, you did to me. Yep.
That shit looked delicious.
It was in Stanford.
Yeah.
In my breakfast burrito, I'm putting eggs, bacon, cheese, hash browns, like not like hash or not like home fries. I put like a hash brown, like almost like McDonald's hash brown type thing.
Right.
So we got the eggs, the bacon, the cheese, the hash brown. Put a little ketchup in there. Not too much though, but like I'm not trying to dip it in ketchup. I would like a little ketchup in it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not much of a syrup guy personally. Like I like syrup, but it's just too sticky. So which one best? I could go without it.
Right.
And maybe put some sausage in there too. I'm not a huge fan of like all the peppers and onions in my breakfast stuff.
I feel that.
So I'm more of a simple man.
Right. I like what you put in it. I think I can mess with that. I can't think of anything else to put in there. I mean, the one I sent you had like fucking pancakes and all that shit in it. I mean, like 2 pancakes in the damn burrito. That's crazy.
It don't look good though. Also, my eggs though, my egg gotta be like an omelet form. I'm not
right. So I was gonna say, like, I was gonna ask, like, is not an omelet like similar choice here? It's basically a bunch of shit shoved in between eggs. Yeah. So like, I would prefer an omelet over a breakfast burrito any day of the week.
an omelet inside the burrito though. So
Okay.
you put everything in the omelet, and then
Okay.
essentially you put the omelet in the tortilla wrap.
Okay.
That way you can like hold the omelet in your hand.
Okay. Okay. I can get with that.
Type shit.
I can get with that. Alrighty, let's jump on down to Thirsty Tuesday this week in the show the right way. We
Easy
got
week.
we got 4 WWE main roster superstars. We got Alexa Bliss. We ain't seen from her in a while, but we're gonna put her on the list. Indi Hartwell, Tegan Knox, and Candice Lerae. I'll let you go first as always.
So I feel like this is a very easy week. So I'm not gonna hold you. I'm going based off how they look on WWE television.
Okay.
All right, because I'm not gonna lie, I do a little research because I was like, Tegan Knox when she comes across on TV, she doesn't, in my opinion, doesn't look the hottest or whatever because she's like
Right.
the makeup they give her, and she got like that weird Ronda Rousey eyelids.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of that. But personally, if I'm going with WTV mixed with what I see on Instagram, number one, we're going Indi Hartwell.
Okay.
Indi Hartwell is a beautiful woman. Okay, beautiful woman. And I like that she got almost like the everyday girl, almost kind of like face,
Right.
like the girl next door face. You know what I'm saying? She got I don't know that person. I like when she does a thumbs up. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It gets me. Number one, we go Alexa Bliss. Sorry, number one, Indi Hartwell. Number two, Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss. That's Alexa Bliss right there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? She's not a mom for no reason. You know what I'm saying? Also, you picked a bad picture of Candice LeRae. It was a terrible picture of Candice LeRae.
I know.
For the advertisement. But I was coming in here going to say Candice LeRae, then Tegan Knox, but once I did a little more research on Tegan Knox's Instagram, I'm going Tegan Knox number 3, Candice LeRae number 4.
Okay, so I have the same list as you. Now Tegan Knox, her Instagram is deceiving, and so the picture that I used that I sent in the Discord, I used that one on purpose because she came back with that fucking rainbow hair, and that's not attractive to me. I already said I don't like it on Mercedes Mone. I just don't like it on women in general. Like,
you like it on your men though?
Huh?
You like it on your men though?
Nah. Don't do that. Don't do that shit. But so like Shotzi, like the green hair sort of like fits with her gimmick, or like Becky with the fire orange hair makes sense. But like when you come back and you got like 8,000 colors and you're distracting and you look like a fucking clown, no, I'm sorry, it's just not attractive to me. Indi Hartwell, I think you summed it up well. The only thing I'll say to it is there's just something about that accent.
Oh yeah,
there's just something about it. I love people from Australia, New Zealand. That's my. I'm moving there, yo. I got Indi, my Bay Dakota Kai's from down there. It's.
I say you better chill for Dexter Loomis. Find your address. Yeah, where he been at though?
Who knows?
do some research. Next week we're giving you the missing report on Dexter Loomis.
We're gonna find out where Dexter Loomis has been. I don't know. So next week's Thirsty Thursday, I'm gonna go ahead and announce it. We're doing women of TNA. Now I'm not doing new TNA. I'm talking old school, like prime TNA.
Velvet Sky.
Velvet Sky's on that list, my dude.
She's number one. I don't care who the rest of the list is. I don't care. I can probably predict your list. Okay, I'm gonna try to predict who you got on the list.
All right,
we got Velvet Sky.
Okay,
Angelina Love.
Nah.
You put the other half of the beautiful people.
I did not.
All right, so we got Velvet Sky, Gail Kim.
Okay.
Did what's her name? ODB. Did she make your list?
She did not.
Tara or Tessa. Not Tessa. The girl who was the secretary type gimmick or the Jarrett's assistant, whatever her name was.
No. So the two you got from like old school, and then there's one I guess like
Madison Rain.
It's not Madison. It's Taryn Terrell.
Okay.
She was sort of like 2010s, 2013. And then there's another one. She went by Brittany in TNA, but Santana Garrett is her indie name or her more known name. But that's next week. We'll rate that. I already knew you were going to fucking put Velvet Sky #1. That's why I put her on here. And then after that, the week after, we're doing the women of AEW, so they can get some love as well.
Real Sky,
huh?
Real Sky.
And then yeah, we'll go from there. But thank y'all for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave us a review, like, share, subscribe, tell your friends, even if they don't like wrestling. We're here to have fun. Tell them to join the Discord. We talk about everything in there. Whatever they want to talk about, we'll talk about it.
Next week, I will not be distracted by this cat. This cat is going to stay upstairs. He's stuck downstairs today. I didn't realize until like 5 minutes into recording.
Not a problem.
So next week, this cat will not be here.
All right, but we appreciate y'all watching, and we'll see y'all next Tuesday. Have a great rest of your week.
Brother, I'm going run a wild Hulk Hogan. If I like get some moment.